Hello, I'm Jorge Flores. I also go by George, so don't hesitate to call me George. Yeah, so if you're watching this video, that means you're either seeing this on Psychology Today or being sent this by our intake people at the office. And it means you're interested in doing therapy. If you're walking into my office, this is immediately what you see. Got a bunch of toys. All of this is for sand tray therapy. That's Barry, and this is an EMDR light bar. I am very focused, goal oriented. We make those goals together. They're obviously your goals. And part of that would be this first session. The first session would be a large part to do an assessment. I'd ask you a bunch of questions. If you were this punching bag thing, and it's the whole person, right? Maybe you as a partner, as a parent, as a friend, as a employee. Maybe you like to snowboard a lot. I don't know. So each one of these sides could be a different domain of your life. And if one is miserable, like work, it looks kind of maybe deflated. And if that's deflated, it's not going to run around as smoothly, right? And the longer an area were to stay depressed and deflated, eventually affect every other things. If you're miserable at work, eventually it's going to affect your relationship with your partner because you're going to be getting home constantly in a bad mood, etc. So that's part of that. But before you go through with any of that, I want you to understand, again, some of the stuff that makes me different. Like being in person, very important. A lot of the techniques I use cannot translate as smoothly online. That said, I have a few handouts here. I'll try to share to explain some of the philosophies. So this little pie chart is basically how therapy works. I'm the blue. That's 15%. That's me teaching you guys how to do EMDR or sand tray and stuff and facilitating that for you. But otherwise, the 85% comes from you. The orange is engagement. Also kind of comes out in this little thing. We'll get to that. But basically, your attitude. If you have a positive outlook, you're probably going to get positive results. If you're open and all that. If you're like, oh, well, kind of being forced to do this or I don't want to, well, you're not going to get as far with therapy. The yellow is a therapeutic alliance, so that technically includes me, but you could have that with people you trust at home, partner, parent, best friend, etc. But we don't all have that luxury, so that's why we can be here. And a big sense with me, it's the online component as well. I mean, sorry, in person. Because if we were online, then that means that if you wanted to complain about your partner and they're in the next room, you're probably not going to feel as liberated to do so. Here in this office space, there's no real barrier like that. You know, I'm not going to call and be like, you'll never guess what they said. So, so yeah. In a lot of ways, that's a therapeutic alliance. The green is whatever you do with all this information. Ideally over here, we're raising awareness, and with the green, you do something with that awareness, but it can also be life. You know, you might get hit by a car, you might win the lottery, we'll see, but yeah. In a nutshell, if you do 50 sessions and do all this good stuff and don't make a change, it's always on you. Alrighty, so the next one is this house. We're not going to go through all of them, just quickly, like, the house without foundation falls. So I pay attention to the foundational thing. Why is that stuff important? Because the body keeps the score. So if you don't have therapeutic relationships somewhere in your life, doesn't have to be with me, but somewhere, if you don't have engagement and trying to like pay attention to things and make changes, the green, you know, if you're not doing the stuff on here, then you're probably maybe stressed or anxious or something, and that comes out in so many ways. I like the little cloud also for depression, but it says dissociation. Maybe you get chronic headaches, emotional flashbacks, somatic flashbacks. That's a key word here. A lot of the therapies I do are somatic, just kind of means physical. Uh, you got, possible anxiety symptoms. The heart, I guess this is all backwards, but maybe your heart starts racing, your breathing goes up, chronic pain, this candy bar, but that could easily be drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, and video games, what have you. Uh, I've heard people say ulcers, chronic pain, all sorts of things that come when you don't express yourself, when you don't have the space to do that kind of stuff. And that's why it's pretty important to have somewhere to explore and to process. And yeah. Alrighty, well, if you're still with me, a lot of this comes from existentialism. Viktor Frankl, this is Man's Search for Meaning. He wrote that book after coming out of the Holocaust with his wife, kids, parents, siblings, all deceased. They were alive before. And he wanted to end it all, but he decided that life is what you make it. And it's our job and our responsibility to give our lives a meaning. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy or guilt-free or anxiety-free. And that theory doesn't have a lot of techniques, which kind of led me getting into more different kinds of somatic therapies, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Highly effective for trauma. I send out handouts for that as well, but highly effective for trauma, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, grief and loss. Just very, very versatile therapy, and it's somatic. And you kind of put this on for a sec. See those lights? Then it's all it does. It goes back and forth. It's beeping and booping in my ears. These little things go buzz buzz, and you see there's little lights on them too. And that's it. That is bilateral stimulation. And that is kind of, in simple terms, therapy. And fast forward a lot of the times gets the brain talking to the two hemispheres, and let's go. We don't always do that. There's other things too. There's all the toys and all that. There's fidgets, there's games. Sometimes we draw. Sometimes we just talk. But yeah, all of those are somatic therapies, and with the brain responses, that's why I do them, to help you guys get the best results efficiently, or just to try something different. It's not for everyone, so if this doesn't sound like something you're open to, then you might want to transfer it to someone who's more traditional. If you are open to it, I look very much forward to meeting you. And yeah, getting the ball rolling. That's what we're here for. Take care.